everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, we're going to take a look at the new Marvel Infinite Series 4-inch Thunderstrike figure. Now this figure comes packaged in the same style packaging we see with all the Marvel Infinite Series. You've got the logo up top, the little Avengers icons below that, and then the figure clearly displayed on the card back. And then on the back of the packaging we have the figure displayed, a little brief bio in multiple languages, and then down below a look at other figures in the wave. Okay, so let's get this figure open and take a look at what's inside. So here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. Now, I think the sculpt on this figure is pretty nice. I think they did a good job with capturing the overall look of the Thunderstrike character. Now, if you're not familiar with Thunderstrike, basically he's a character from the 90s. His real name's Eric Masterson. He's a human who was basically worthy enough to pick up Thor's hammer and for a time became Thor. And we actually got a Thor figure. It was unclear if this was supposed to be Eric Masterson Thor or Thor when he happened to grow a beard. But it fits kind of for both, this Thor figure from the previous Marvel Infinite Series wave. But basically, Masterson for a time became Thor and had a beard, wore basically Thor's costume and hammer, but had a beard. But then later the real Thor returned, but because Masterson was, did such a good job, I guess, and was worthy and everything, he got his own hammer and became the character known as Thunderstrike, which was kind of a hipper, more modern looking Thor. So his hammer is different looking. It's not just a regular mallet, it's a weird shape. It's got the T for Thunderstrike, and it's got a chain at the end. And I think they've done a nice job with the sculpting on this one. I forget, it's got a name too, I think, but I forget what it is. It's got the leather wrapping design for the handle. Not a lot of paint wash or anything, but again, I think the hammer looks pretty good. And so Thunderstrike, he still has the beard. He also has a ponytail. Like I said, it's basically kind of supposed to be a hipper looking Thor. He's got a sleeveless leather jacket, and this is actually removable if you want. You can take it off. You gotta have to pull it down under the ponytail, but it is removable. And he's got the same kind of, similar shirt to Thor and pants and everything. His boots are different. Again, they're brown leather. And the sculpting on the boots I think are pretty good. The actual shoe part of the boots though are a little bit different brown than the rest, so that looks a little bit off, but it's not too bad. Another place where the paint color is a little different is with his hair. The hair on his head is a brighter yellow than the actual ponytail, so that looks a little bit off too. Again, not terrible, but when you're really looking at it, you can notice the difference in the paint color. The scale on the figure seems to be pretty good. The figure stands at about 4 3/4 inches tall. He's about the same height as that Thor figure there. We'll call it the Eric Masterson Thor figure. So overall, scale seems to be pretty good. Where this figure basically lacks, unfortunately, like most of the figures in these recent waves of Infinite Series, is with the articulation. So this figure, being a new sculpt and everything, is missing key points of articulation that we were accustomed to with the older Marvel Universe figures. The head's on a ball joint, so he can look left and right okay. The head turn is limited a little bit with the ponytail, but he can for the most part look left and right pretty good. No real up or down motion with this figure, with the head on this figure. The arms are attached with your standard ball hinge joints at the shoulder, so he can get his arm out good. And he's got good rotation at the shoulders. No bicep swivel. Does have the swivel at the elbow. Single hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow about that much. No wrist articulation, unfortunately. No midsection articulation. No waist swivel on this figure. Legs are attached with ball joints, so he can do the splits about that much. He can get his leg forward about that much, and can't really do his leg back. No thigh swivel. Double jointed knees, so he can bend his knee pretty good. And then he has hinges, so he's got up and down movement, and he does have ankle pivot. And then 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, you know, I like the look of the figure. I think the sculpting is pretty good on it. I like the hammer. You know, I think that came out looking good. The paint applications aren't bad on this one. You know, a little bit with the difference in paint tones on the boots and the hair, but overall I'd say the paint applications are pretty solid on this one. Some nice wash work on the jacket and everything, so I can't really complain about the paint. But like with most of the figures in these recent waves of Infinite series, where I really am disappointed is with the articulation. You know, you really can't get this figure in very good poses. You know, it lacks midsection articulation, no waist swivel, and no wrist joints of any kind for, you know, good hammer throwing poses. So that's very disappointing to me. If you want to just stand the figure on your shelf, then I think you'll be okay. And, you know, I am happy that we're getting Thunderstrike. I was a fan of the character in the 90s. I read the comics, so I'm glad we're getting the figure. I just wish that we would see the return of the articulation we're accustomed to from the Marvel Universe days with these figures. I continue to hold out hope that, you know, with future waves we will see that articulation return. Hopefully we'll see something at San Diego Comic-Con in a week or so. So I continue to hold out hope. But as it is, you know, this figure looks good, but articulation-wise, it's not very good. So that's my review. We'll have a full gallery of images of the figure over at marvelousnews.com. There's a link in the description below. And as always, we ask, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.